This episode is in partnership with Authority Magazine. Authority Magazine, a Medium publication, is devoted to sharing in-depth and interesting interviews featuring people who are authorities in business, pop culture, wellness, social impact, and tech.
Marc Victor is a double Hollywood insider with a passion for everything he does.
He's an insider because he spent a large chunk of his career in television, and now he works in real estate, helping bring buyers inside their new homes.
Marc Victor, welcome to Believe in People.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of Believe in People, and congratulations on all your success. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. We love hearing that. So thank you. Marc, I'm going to ask probably a really obvious question. And the question is, and we'll get into this more as we have a conversation, but what motivated you to change careers from being a successful producer in television to moving into real estate?
Yeah, so television is in my DNA. Journalism is in my DNA. Entertainment is in my DNA. I love the business. I still love the business. As Kevin knows, we worked together at the Today Show. It was the greatest experience ever. And I know it sounds cliche, but it was a family, and it still is. And this just shows Kevin and I still speak. It's not just people say, oh, it's like a family. We all love each other. It's great. And then like you walk out the door and no one talks to each other. I still talk people from the Today Show all the time, and they're all great friends, and they'll always be there for me, and I'm always there for them. So I really enjoy the business. It was great. But as we've seen, and Kevin can definitely talk about this as well, is that the industry has changed and things are definitely changing. It was a great experience. It was amazing. But every time I took another job, I was like, okay, I started in television and doing what I did because I loved it, and it was so much fun, and it wasn't like a job. It was more of a passion, and I had that opportunity to live it out every day, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. And then eventually I started taking jobs, and I'm like, now it's kind of like just a job, and not, it's a gig, it's a job, it's going to work, and it's not really doing what I love. And the budgets started getting smaller, and the staff started getting smaller, and the creativity part of it kind of wasn't there as much, because it's like, oh, you want to do that? Yeah, that's going to cost a lot of money. Or we don't have the staff to do something like that. And it just became kind of like, here's what we're going to do. This is what we can get on the air, and go for it. And we're sorry that we don't have the resources that you used to have, but just make it happen. So when I got to that point, I really had that moment in my life where I'm like, wow, am I going to continue to do this and not really be happy at what I'm doing? Or am I going to try something new? And most people, and there's nothing wrong with those people, most people would say, this is what I do, and this is what I love, and I'm going to continue to do it. But I'm not that person. And I said, I'm going to make a big change. And a woman that I love and who is a mentor to me is a woman by the name of Barbara Corcoran, who I actually had on the Today Show. We did a weekly segment, a real estate segment about what you can buy in real estate in every city. In Oklahoma, you could buy this house for $300,000. In LA, it's a tiny studio where you can't get anything, whatever it may be. And we really bonded, and we became good friends. Like I said, the Today Show is like a family. And I contacted Barbara, and I said, Barbara, I really love real estate. I really want to get into it. What would you suggest? And she was like, oh my God, Marc, you'd be amazing. That's such a great idea for you. I'm going to put you in touch with the CEO of a company called The Agency. His name is Mauricio Umansky. I want you to meet him. We met via Zoom and hit it off right away. And that's where that opportunity happened. And I ended up getting my real estate license. And now I'm living the dream that I wanted to do. And this is, as you described it, I think in one of your posts, as a pivot. And this is my big pivot. And let me tell you, for everyone that's watching, it's not easy. It's not like, oh yeah, I just woke up last night and I'm like, I'm going to be a real estate agent and let's go. I mean, studying for an exam, you feel like you're back in school. you're testing yourself, you're doing flashcards, you're starting to doubt yourself. Did I do the right thing? Am I going to pass the test? Then you pass the test, and you're like, am I going to get my first sale? Is this going to be easy? And nothing is easy, and you just need to keep on going day by day by day, and it just gets easier and easier. And if your heart's in it and you're passionate about it, you can do it. But for people who want to do this in your life, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. It's definitely.
You're making me laugh. You know, there is a constant, though, Mr. Victor, and the constant in all of this is not only persistence, which is the word that you use, but you have to have persistence for television. But the other P word, if I can use it, is people, which is kind of like what we talk about every week on this little show. The other P word being podcast. But you have to deal with people in television to the extent that sometimes it does drive you around the bend. But surely you have to use those people skills when you are negotiating with people in terms of making them fall in love with what you're about to encourage them to purchase, correct?
Absolutely. And the producing sense of this is right on. And that's a great point. I'm producing my clients. I'm producing homes. I'm producing the experience for everyone. And I am providing a service for people. So that's my main thing. So as a producer, you want to do a great segment. You want to make sure that the viewers are happy with it. You want to make sure that you're giving them great information. All of that is done in real estate. And that's actually translated very well for me in my new profession.
And Marc, okay, I want to know, where does this energy come from? Where did this DNA, your entertainment DNA, where did that come from in your past life? Share us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm originally, Kevin, do you still live in Highland Park?
Yeah, North Chicago.
So I'm from Chicago. I grew up in Highland Park. I went to Deerfield High School. I ended up taking a class at Deerfield High School in television, and I fell in love. My teacher's name was Mr. Hirsch, David Hirsch, and I did an article one time, and I mentioned his name, and he contacted me, and now we're Facebook friends, and we talk. That class changed it for me. I went to the class. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. They have a new television class. I ended up going into the class in high school, and I was addicted. And I was like, wow, that's for me. We made music videos, and we edited, and we shot our own stuff, and we wrote our own stuff, and I was hooked. And from there, I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be in television. I ended up going to The Ohio State University. I was a journalism major at The Ohio State University, and I loved it. While I was in college, I worked at the local stations. I worked for ABC Sports Monday Night Football. I was a runner. I used to pick up Al Michaels and Frank Gifford at the airport. I used to get them their favorite candy. I used to be, during the game, I would have different jobs. One time I would be in the booth, and we'd turn the blue screen behind them and get them their favorite candy and be there if they need anything. Other times you'd be in the truck with the director, and if there's a flag down, you'd yell, flag down, flag down. So people understand what's going on, so that they know, and they're shooting that shot. So I fell in love with TV, and I was traveling all over the place with ABC Sports Monday Night Football. I missed a lot of college, but it worked out. And it was great. I also worked for the Final Four tournament in New Orleans, and worked as a runner there, where I'm picking up talent and producers and working with everyone. And I think I was making, which was a lot of money. I think I got promoted. I think I was making like $75 a day. I started at ABC Sports Monday Night Football making $50 a day, and then I got promoted to $75 a day. And let me tell you, I would have done it for free because it was amazing. Back in the day, Monday Night Football was like the biggest thing ever. We had the hats, we had the jackets. It was an incredible experience. And I would also do college games. So I would do, what would I do? I would do a Steelers game, and then I would do a Penn State game, and then I would do a Steelers game. And the crew from Monday Night Football, we'd all play basketball in the city that we were in. And it was just a great bonding experience. And from there, I really fell in love even more with the business.
Isn't it interesting? I started as what was called at the time a copy boy. then became a copy clerk, which I guess is a more, acceptable phrase. Splitting scripts, running film to when it was still film days, running film to telecine, running film back and forth from the lab. Then somebody, the old guys with the cigars were playing cards at night because I was on the 4 to 12 for the 11 o'clock news, and they were playing cards and smoking cigars, and half of them were in the bar, and it was like, there's a house fire, boy, kid, you go. And that's the same sort of thing. Do you think that passion, I had the same passion that you just described, can kids today still, I mean, I spoke at a they call it focus on the arts at the local high school here to kids just recently about, can you still achieve that dream? Can you still achieve your dream in the television world climate, do you think, the way that you and I were so fortunate to do?
I think that there's less opportunities just because they're not hiring as many people. It's harder to get an internship because now the internships, they used to be free. Now they have to pay for interns, which is great. I think you could still get in. I'm hearing a lot less people wanting to get into the industry. When I grew up in Chicago and I told people I wanted to be in television, and even I told my parents, and my dad was, owned a business and he's amazing and was supportive, but it wasn't a common thing for your son to come to you and say, I'm going to be in the TV business. It's like growing up in Chicago, that's just not a common thing. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to work in construction. I'm going to do whatever you're going to do. That's kind of what you do, but not working in the television industry. So that wasn't that common, but I believed in myself. I believed I could make something happen, and I did it. And I think the biggest thing is, and I know you guys talk about it in the podcast, is believing in yourself and then believing in other people. And I think you need both of those things. I know in the real estate business, I have to believe in myself, especially being a newbie and really going out there. But then I also have to believe in others that want to help me out and want to work with me and want to take a chance on me, and that knew me from my past life and say, I love this guy, I trust this guy, and I'm going to trust this guy with probably the biggest transaction of my life, which is usually real estate. And it's been effective. And really, if you're a good person and people like you and you're there for them, they're going to be there for you. And I really, truly believe in that. The more you help people, the more you talk to people, the more you could do for people, the more it'll come back to you.
Yeah. And it really is about relationship building. Like the underpinning is that relationship building. Marc, I wanted to ask you, what inspires you?
What inspires me? So my kids inspire me. I know that I have to do what I do and whatever I'm going to do and earn a living because I love my kids and I love my wife so much. And I want them to live their best life ever. And I want them to have the same drive and excitement and energy and passion that I do. So I think that drives me, and also happiness. I think as I was in the television business and I worked at the Today Show and I was really happy, but you don't realize how happy you are when you're at a place because you're grinding it out and up at 4 a.m. and leaving work at 10 o'clock at night, and you're not really sure. And as you get older, you see what those happy moments were. And then you also look back and reflect back on moments that you're like, you know what? That didn't make me feel good. I don't care how much money I was getting paid. I didn't feel good about what I did. I didn't love what I was doing. I was just doing it to do it to get a paycheck. And now in my new pivot, my new career, I'm happy. And I wake up every day and I'm excited, I'm passionate, and I'm happy that I'm doing what I want to do. And, I don't really have a boss. My clients are my boss, and we decide to work together, and we're doing something and achieving something great and helping them sell or buy, whatever it may be. And this is a big transaction in their life that they're excited about, and I'm part of that process, but I'm happy. And I really believe that, and I tell my kids all the time, whatever you do, whatever you want to do, don't think about money, think about happiness and what's going to bring that happiness to you and how you're going to bring that happiness to other people. And you're going to be a great person because of it.
I have lots of kind of real estate related questions to ask you that are going to come in a minute, but we cannot have a conversation, especially this week in our world, without talking about the word that you just used a minute ago, which was trust. And in the television world these days, Mark, trust seems to be at a premium, especially in the light of several high profile television people losing their jobs this week. I mean, I guess I can say Tucker and Don Lemon and even Mr. Shell at NBC. I mean, what's happened to what they referred to as the Tiffany Network and the Cronkite days and the trust in news, even though that was part of Fox's slogan. What was Fox's slogan anyway?
Right.
Trust us. What was it?
I forgot what I know. I remember, but I don't
something. Anyway, see, we've even forgotten their slogan. So, right. I mean, what's happened?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I was watching Lester Holt, and when he did his report on the news, it was a headline story, and they had all three of those people in a box saying, "This is what happened today. This is what happened today." And yeah, it's upsetting. It's upsetting about trust. I mean, there's so much stuff to talk about it, from the news and what people are reporting and how we're going to different networks because we like to hear about one thing over another thing. That's upsetting, and how we can't trust what we're watching, and how do we tell our kids about that? And then the other thing that's really upsetting on Me Too, and like you reported about inappropriate relationships, is I have two daughters that are going to go into the workforce, and I want them to feel comfortable at work and not have a boss that's a male that has other ideas or is talking to them a certain way or wants to be in a relationship or whatever it may be, and this is the only way that you're going to do well. Like, that's scary.
Yeah,
that's really, really scary. And I think for such a long time we put these people on a pedestal, and it's the news division, the CEO of a company, and now we just have to really
the athlete
and be aware and not be so trusting, which is, I guess, upsetting, but we can't have our blinders on anymore.
Yeah.
It's so true. And actually, I'm just going to, Kevin kind of alluded to it about real estate. I wanted to ask you, and I'm asking for my brother, what's the real estate market like for buying a home in California?
So in California, in LA, and first of all, if this is for your brother, we'll talk after, because I love to talk to him. I'm not gonna just like listen and be like, oh, okay, great, good luck with that. Definitely, let's connect. I would love to chat with your brother. But in LA, nationwide, the real estate market is slowing down a little because inventory is very low. There's not that many homes on the market. So because of that, the prices are still up there, and buyers are having a hard time finding a place to live, and the sellers are not lowering their price. I forgot who said it, but this is the first time that we're seeing a market where the buyers think it's a buyer's market because they've seen the rates go up, they've seen what happened with the banks, and the sellers think it's a seller's market because they're like, hey, there's not that much inventory. I'm the only house for sale on the block. So if you want to live on this block, you have to buy my house. So there's a lot of buyers coming in with lower offers, and then there's a lot of sellers that are just not accepting those offers. So we're seeing a lot of deals that could, in the past, would potentially happen, and now they're not happening because they can't come to terms.
So two things. One, the Fox slogan was fair and balanced. I don't know where I got it from, but fair and balanced means right. So your role as the real estate guy in all of this then is you have to get them to trust you. So in today's world, where you can't even trust the guy that phones you on the telephone anymore, is it harder for you to win people's trust over because of the world that we're living in?
So the big thing is your sphere of influence. That's where you get a lot of your clients from. It's the people that know you and trust you and know you as they don't even have to know me as, oh, Marc Victor, he used to work at the Today Show. It's Marc Victor. I know him. I know his kids. I know his wife. He's a really good guy. And I know he used to be in the television business and all that stuff, and now he's in real estate, but I've met him. I've gone out for dinner with him. I really like him. I trust him.
Yeah, but that's like how many, 100 people? I mean, you can't know everybody. I mean.
Right. I know Kevin Tibbles, so I'm good, right?
Yeah, it'll cost you to use my name, though.
Right. So, yeah. So the new people that I'm meeting, it's really going back to being a producer. Being a producer, you're going to work harder than everyone else. When I was a producer, I was the first one in the morning. I was the last one to leave at the end of the day. So I am definitely still doing that with clients. Oh, this is what you're looking for? Great. Let me try to find you that property. Okay, great. You can see that on Redfin. You can see that on Zillow. Let me tell you what I'll do. Our company has a lot of off-market listings, what we call pocket listings that not everyone knows about. I'm going to try to find you some of those. I'm going to contact some rental properties and see maybe they'd be interested in selling. So it's really being scrappy and really being ambitious and really thinking outside the box, just like the television business, of how you're going to get them something that maybe others couldn't get them, and that you're going to be available for them all the time, and that you're going to be on it and you're going to know the market. Knowledge is power, and people want as much knowledge as they can get. And so I'm reading everything, every report that comes out, every information, all the information about the market, what's happening, about the communities that they live in, what's sold, what didn't sold, what's sold on the off market, off market properties. I have all that information and I'll share that with them. So that's the most important thing. And through all of that, I hope that we build this relationship and they feel like they can trust me.
And
can I just jump in for one quick second? And that is because and if you lose somebody's trust, you're screwed. I mean, that's it.
It's everything. It's the same thing in the television industry too. It's like if you lose someone's trust and their confidence, forget about it. And then that one person tells another person and tells another person, and you're done. And especially in real estate, you're looking for referrals from your clients. So you want a happy client. You want people to walk away and say, oh my God, I dealt with Marc Victor. I had the best experience. Sure, real estate's crazy, negotiating's crazy, but at the end of the day, it was a fair deal. He took great care of us. He made sure that we were okay in this huge transaction, and everything worked out. I highly recommend Marc Victor, and I want him to work with you.
And Marc, to that point, actually, so I'm learning through my brother, because again, buying a home is one of the biggest purchases you'll ever make, is that also the buyer is becoming more educated and highly knowledgeable. And I think and I'm only speaking for my brother, is that he's seen 50 homes, I think. Anyways, but I think that his pet peeve is that he knows so much about, the housing market, that I think he gets frustrated with those who are trying to sell him a house. This house is great. Every house that he's looked at, his agent has said, this is a fabulous home, not knowing his personality, and he'll come back to me and tell me these stories. And it's like, that's not you at all. So how do you get the DNA? How do you really understand the relationship of the person you're trying to sell that house to?
That's a great point. And that's what a lot of people do. And that's a big mistake, as I'm learning in the industry from other people, is, you're not there to sell someone just anything. You're not a salesperson. You're a real estate advisor. You're there to advise them. And also through the television business, I worked well with people and really learned about people and what they want and what they're looking for and what's going to work and what's not going to work. So it's really having those conversations with them prior to going to see a home, to see where they are, what they like, what they don't like, and what homes they've seen in the past that didn't really resonate with them and what they really do like. And through that, going into a home and really exploring and letting them say how they feel about the house, but also having your own opinion. Because like you said, if you're saying every house is great, oh my God, every house is great, we should buy this tomorrow, then you don't trust your agent. A lot of clients come to me, they're like, what do you think? I go, I'm not a big fan of it because this, and this, but it's not my house. I'm not buying it. It's up to you. but here's my opinion and here's what I'll share with you. And it's your decision if you want to move forward or not. But here's my decision. It is, you're living on a main street. It's a busy street. Not everyone loves to live on a double yellow line street. It's a corner property. It's, there's, you share your backyard. You can hear the neighbors, all those kinds of things. There's a tennis court on the neighbor's house. If they play tennis, you may be able to hear them, letting them know all that information. And if you don't share all that information, you're just trying to sell something. It's going back to, you're never going to have a happy client and they're never going to get you a referral for another client.
Right. So it's going to come back and bite you in the ass is basically what you're saying. So, every week, as we close the little podcast, we ask the same question. So I'm going to ask it to you, but I'm asking it twofold because you sort of touched on it a little bit earlier, Marc. So I'm going to ask you, what has your life's path up to this point? What has your passion? What has it taught you about people? And why do you believe in people?
So my passion, the reason why I ended up getting into the television business is when I was in college, someone that I went to college with knew someone else in the television business who ended up helping me at least get a name that I could get in touch with, that I could call 1,000 times and then show up at their office to get an interview in the door. But because I knew that there was an opportunity, that was a person who helped me. And then when I got internships, I got in touch with 1 million people and someone said, oh my God, I know that person, call that person. And that's what helped me get at least in the door to at least sell myself to get an internship. So without great people and without people wanting to help you, you could be the greatest person ever. You could be the smartest person ever. You can be the most ambitious person ever, but you still need a little help from other people. And so that's the number one thing. And even as I then went into the real estate business, Barbara Corcoran, who I was really good to her, and which was nice to see that if you're good to people, people will be nice to you as well. Barbara was like dying to be on the show, and she was like, and this was before Shark Tank. And she's like, I want to do stuff. I was like, great, let's come up with a weekly segment. We came up with a weekly segment. We had so much fun doing it. And I loved it. And I loved her on the show, but it was all about her and her segment and helping her. And that's all I wanted to do was help her. And then 10 years later, what does she do? She helps me. So I try to help as many people as possible. I get calls, I get emails, I get text messages all the time. My child wants to be in television. My child wants to be in real estate. Can you help me out? Can you connect me with someone? We have a show idea. Who can you connect me with? And that's all I do is like anything that I can do to help others, I do, because I really believe if you help others, somewhere down the road, you're going to be like, oh my God, maybe I need some help too. Why don't I contact so-and-so and they'll help you right back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marc. It's been such a pleasure.
Everything you just said reminded me so much of Meet the Fablemans, which a lot of Meet the Fablemans I couldn't really identify with, but the bit at the end when he goes in to see the guy, who was it, John Huston or somebody? He goes in, Spielberg or whatever. He goes in, and it did bring back memories. It was like I got goosebumps. It was like, holy shit, that's what happened to me too, kind of. And
right.
So hang on to the dream, man. Thank you very much for spending a half hour with us.
Yeah, no, this is great. Congratulations on everything, and thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Marc. Have the best day.
See you down the road.
Well, Marc has certainly not lost any energy as he has developed into various careers. I think he's remarkable. And I think, okay, so the common denominator for me is build trusting relationships with whomever you meet, because you never know, and kindness rules. And that's my philosophy. And I'm so happy that he embraces that. He's very inspiring.
I only have fond memories of working with him at the Today Show. He was always had such a ton of energy that I actually found it to be inspiring to be working under him for many of the stories that I was doing. And I'll just add one other word, and that is people. Clearly, you have to believe in people in order to gain their trust. And it was very refreshing to speak to someone who's sort of patterned his entire life after doing that. And if you want to believe in some more people, well, then we'll see you next week. And I hope you subscribe to Believe in People. It's a great name, isn't it? Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Kevin.